Sit. 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 Yeah. Okay. Good boy. You gonna sit too? Come here and sit. My good boys. Good puppies. Good boys. Yeah. Okay. You're my good boy. Good Butchie. Good Brutus. My good Brutus. What are you doing, sniffing that? All right, guys. Got another material storage problem. My sheet goods, plywood, and well, that's pretty much all I have is plywood. And I've had it piled up here behind my plasma table up against the garage door. And it's just not a good, it's not a good solution. I mean, I've got, you know, like 3 or 4 sheets of, 3 sheets of 3/4, 4 sheets of 3/4 inch, 2 or 3 sheets of 1/2 inch, a couple sheets of 1/4 inch plywood there. And the issue is it interferes with the electric eyes on the doors, or it pushes the plasma table, you know, further into the room. So I want to create a freestanding steel rack that I can slide 8 or 10 sheets of plywood in, and I plan to either put it there, leave it there, but hold it vertical because it tends to flop over toward the plasma table, which then, you know, pushes the plasma table this way. So freestanding rack for a dozen sheets of plywood that has casters and I can roll around the shop. So that's the project at hand, and I've got plenty of steel. I have steel left over from my lumber storage rack in my last video, or 2 videos ago. I showed how I built this lumber rack here in the shop. So I've got some steel left over from this project and a lot of rectangular tubing. It's 3 by 1.5 inch rectangular tubing. So I'm going to cut some pieces of that on my saw, and we'll start building something. I'm not sure exactly what it is going to be, but we'll build something. You know, one of the reasons you use this rectangular tubing is it's pretty rigid and won't flex under the stress of the plywood leaning against it. And that's about all the plywood I ever have on hand at any given point in time, 8 or 10, 12 sheets. So I have to square that up. And I guess I need to cut 2 more 5-foot pieces to go between these. Let's see what I have. All right, I'm welding together the uprights for the plywood rack. I need to get casters. I haven't done that yet. I'll run over to Tractor Supply probably later today and look for some casters. I have some, but they're not the right kind. So, and I'm making this a pretty heavy. You'll say it's overkill. Well, I mean, it is overkill, but what I'd like to do is like to have the rack be strong enough and stable enough to stand on its own with some plywood in it. So, I'm making it pretty heavy duty here. definitely going to max out my fixture table here. You know, none of these dimensions or anything are critical. I'm just, you know, assembling this kind of by eye. I mean, literally nothing here in terms of dimensions, you know, matters. It's just a lumber rack, right? So, I just pulled that out of. All right, that's the basic shape of the rack, and I made it 5 feet long. And I think I'm gonna put 2 intermediate posts in it, perhaps, to hold shorter pieces. Approximately 12 inches on center here. And that's just to get a smoother, it will slide in case lumber hits that, cheap goods. And that's basically, you know, to smooth the joint so that lumber sliding in there won't hang up. Let's see how we did on the parallelism. I got about 9 1/8, 9 1/4. Pretty good. Okay, I got some casters, so I think all we have left to do is turn this over on the floor and weld the casters on. Let's do that. So I mean, this is purposefully heavy. So here's the finished lumber rack. This is for sheet goods, plywood primarily. I mean, I may have something else, particle board or something, MDF, but it's for basically for sheets of plywood. It holds about all I normally would have on hand, you know, a dozen pieces, different sizes. I'm going to load this up with my existing stash and we'll see how it works. How you guys doing in here, huh? Now that I stopped welding. Let me get my little stool here. Being good boys. Being daddy's good boys, huh? My good boy. Good boy. This is Brutus. Those of you that have, you know, been watching the channel, you know these guys. They're my good boys. They're AKC German Shepherds, brothers, obviously from the same litter. Butchie here, sit, 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 was pup number 1 in the litter. He's the big boy. Where's my Brew Brew? Come here, Brew Brew. Name's Brutus, but we call him Brew Brew for short. He was pup number 3 in the litter. They have very different personalities. Of course, Butchie tends to be the alpha. Push Brew Brew around a little bit. Though Brew Brew doesn't take too much stuff from him. Brew Brew's a little more sensitive. He's a little more afraid of thunder than Butchie is. A little more sensitive. But that's okay. That's okay. Most dogs don't like thunder, so nothing unusual there. They're both very affectionate. Yeah, you're my good boy. Give me a paw. Give me a paw. Give me a paw. You're not going to give me a paw? There we go. All right. It's hot outside. It was really hot yesterday. It was like 96. I think it's maybe only 90, something like that today. Let's see what it says. Where I am, what does it say? Oh, feels like 90, 84, feels like 90. Pretty humid. So all my sheet goods are here between the plasma table and the door, the roll-up door behind the screen. And the plasma table's on wheels, so I'm going to be able to roll it out of the way and pull these sheets of plywood and put them in the new rack. Let's see if we can do that. This is a piece of sheetrock I keep, for a repair or something, but I don't think I'm going to need it anymore. Little pieces a 1/4 inch. All right, so there's the finished sheet goods rack. It's on 4 swivel casters, locking casters. You can move it at any direction. It's got room for a couple more sheets, but that's normally the most I would keep on hand at any given point in time. So sized about right. And I just need to find a better place to put it. I think I'm going to put it, rather than behind where it was, behind the table and the door, between the table and the plasma table and the door. I think I'm going to put it behind this workbench. So I have to move this toolbox, slide it in there on this side of the welding screen. I was able to fit my sheet goods rack behind my workbench here. I think this is a good spot. I can load it from the end through the door here, roll up the door, load it in the end, and theoretically pull the sheets out from this end. And I didn't really lose much room. I have to move my oxyacetylene tanks and my TIG welder a little bit, 6 inches. But largely lost a foot of clearance in front of the workbench, but I have over 3 feet to the plasma table, so I'm fine there. Plus I can push the plasma table back against the door. I gained a foot there, so I gained a foot here. I think that's a good solution. I'm happy with that. All right, folks, that's going to wrap up this video. Shop organization has been on my mind all year. I've been doing a lot of work toward that end. New lumber rack behind me against the back wall, new toolboxes, some new tools, got rid of some older tools. So I actually have more floor space now in here than I had a year ago. I mean, it feels like a lot more. And I'm not sure how that happened, but it's what it feels like in here. So I'm making progress. If you have any comments about this lumber rack, let me know what you think. I got it back here behind my workbench. I can load it from the roll-up door, or I can take material out of it from the other side. Doesn't take up too much floor space, and much better than my just throwing it against the wall over here. So, and it's totally mobile, rolls around easily. Let me know what you think. Leave me a comment. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit the thumbs up, like the video. Stick around if you're interested in this kind of stuff. Got more projects coming down the pike. And we'll see you on the next video.